Welcome back to the Ballet Help Desk podcast. My name's Jenny, and I'm joined by my co-founder, Brett. Today, we are so excited to have back Riley Thomas Weber. He is a nationally sought-after ballet instructor, point shoe expert, and award-winning coach. He is known for his direct, nurturing approach. With a background as a soloist and a ballet master across numerous companies, Riley blends classical technique with real-world expertise. As a leading expert in the point shoe industry, Riley is one of the most sought-after fitters in the world. As a content creator across multiple platforms, Riley's content garners millions of views. So, without further ado, the Help Desk is now open. Brett and I created Ballet Help Desk as the resource we wish we had when our kids were going through ballet training. Now we've got some exciting news. For a while, many of you have asked for an ad-free option, and we've been listening. We are thrilled to introduce the Ballet Help Desk Backstage Pass on Patreon. With your subscription, you will get every episode ad-free. The full back catalog, remastered with higher quality audio, and early access to the episodes before they are released publicly. As our Patreon community grows, we'll be adding new ways for you to connect more deeply with the podcast and the Ballet Help Desk community. Subscribe today. See you backstage.
Riley, welcome.
Hi, good to see you guys again.
You
So
too.
much.
So, a lot has been going on with you. Can you catch us up on what you've been up to since we last talked?
Yeah, that was like a year and a half ago. And it's funny to be sitting in the same chair a year and a half later, and my whole life is completely different for the better. Obviously, I quit my job. I quit. Wasn't for me. I loved the company. I loved the corporation. There was just one person who was the only thing I'll get into is I'll say I'll never work for a company without a HR department ever again. So that's where I'll leave that. I think the whole world wants me to spill some tea, but I'm not going to. I'm not ready to relive what all that was. But that gave me some time to figure out once I left what I really wanted to do with my life. I thought I was going to go back to teaching ballet. I was still in Orlando, still currently am in Orlando. And that was kind of the plan was I was going to figure out, I had private students lined up. I had studio space lined up and I was just ready to do that and see where that took me. And then the internet had different plans. I started getting all these requests to fit point shoes and I just didn't know if I was ready to be a point shoe fitter again because I had 3 weeks between when I left and when I was going to start teaching again because I figured I just needed some time to like breathe. I didn't know if it was the industry I didn't want to be a part of or if it was someone I didn't want to be associated with. I couldn't figure out which one it was. So I didn't want to fit point shoes, but it was just an overwhelmingly large amount of people emailing me, DMing me on every platform I'm available on to be like, I need help. I need help. And I don't really believe in Zoom fittings. I'm not the best at that. So I was like, okay, let's fit point shoes. I was friends with John and Rosemary at Dancewear Corner in Orlando, which is one of the biggest dancewear stores in the world. And I just came up with a business plan where I'm like, I'm not going to work for you, but I have a way of fitting point shoes that I think will benefit everyone. And they were like, absolutely. I only fit there like twice. And I didn't even record my first day to put on TikTok. I just said, I'm going to see if I even want to do this ever again. And I walked away from that first day going, okay, I think it's the point shoes I like. I think it was that part was what I still want to be a part of. And the second day I fit, which was like a month later, I recorded and then I went on vacation in July of 2025. I predated some point shoe videos and they all blew up. And my follower count on social media went from like 100,000 to like 250,000 in a month. And it just, people were paying me to go to their stores to fit point shoes. I was being flown all over the world to fit point shoes again and just to be Riley instead of Riley from a certain brand. I was managing like my students at the same time because I went from having like, okay, I'm going to manage like 12 kids. I'm going to have 12 private students. And I was like, I can't do this. There's too much on my plate. Like this whole social media thing's taking over my life. I have to actually dedicate time to this now because it's paying my bills. This is my real job. So I whittled down to just a few students here and there. And fall of 2025, if that's where I'm at now, I started to go back to Minnesota to teach all of my students that I left because I figured if I could just teach all of my kids in 1 week and make a living in 1 week, I have 3 weeks to do whatever I want with my life, which could be sitting on a couch in Florida or could be traveling the world fitting point shoes. And the more I did, the more I posted, the more social media became my life again. The more opportunities came my way and I'm so grateful for them. And I went from making a decent living, but working sometimes 30 days in a row without a day off and not enough thank yous to making more than that working 3 hours a day. And I just couldn't believe like how happy like everything just kept working out. And it was so weird because I was so scared that was going to do nothing with my life again. Or not that I've never done nothing with my life, but I was so worried that I was going to not do anything and just sit in this puddle of depression. But the universe had completely different plans. And then I got an agent, and then I started traveling and giving lectures and demonstrations on how to fit point shoes. I started getting interviewed by magazines. I got I had a team set up to do a TV show. Like, life is just insane in the best way possible, and I'm so happy to be where I am now, 1 year later on the other side of it.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad that you came out of this shining.
Thank you.
So, can we back up a little bit because you I remember when you came on the last time you were telling us like you never planned to become an influencer, right? Like that was never you didn't wake up one day and go, "I want to be a social media influencer." But can you talk about how that happened because I thought that was a really interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, the origin story was I was dating someone and it needed to end, but they were in California, and I needed something to do when I was visiting California, so I made a sassy TikTok that went viral and changed my life. Got interviewed by a bunch of dance brands, took a job with one, and then I really didn't put that much effort into social media. Like, it was just me kind of sort of filming what I was doing for work, and it was easy because I would just put the camera down and then edit it later in like 2 minutes. And that kinda, like, stunted my growth on social media. I had, like, a small boom when I moved to Florida, but not anything like I have now, and I think as soon as I started doing my own thing and I was able to work with or film myself fitting every brand there is, and also just filming my life. I knew that when I left, there were eyes on me, that people were watching me and reporting things to certain people. Like, I felt like very much watched. And at one point, I just woke up and said, if people are going to watch me, I'm going to give them something to watch. And I have a very blessed life regardless of what I do. And my boyfriend and I travel a lot. So it was a mix of a little ballet content, a little bit of me. Okay, I'm on a cruise in the Mediterranean. Oh, I'm in France underneath the Eiffel Tower. Oh, last minute trip to Toronto, that kind of stuff. And once I started mixing everything, I got this whole new like range of followers that were not just interested in the ballet stuff. They wanted to know about my boyfriend. They wanted to know how long we've been dating. They wanted to know what a day in my life looks like. And once I started just posting even more of anything and everything, that's how I blew up. And I never wanted to be an influencer, but at some point when it starts paying your bills and you're like, oh, okay, I can buy a new car now, you kind of lay into it a little more.
So, where do you know where that line is of how much to share and how much to hold back for you? Because your life is now way more public than it ever was before. So, how do you balance that?
Yeah, it's definitely a fine line. So I always say, and then the lucky part is I'm friends with a lot of big influencers who are all over the world, but none of them are here. So in my daily life, you would not know that I'm a influencer or that I'm a content creator because none of my friends even use their social media here. So if I'm with them, it's never the right time to like I never pull out a camera without asking. I never say film me doing this. Once in a while I will, but it's usually with people who are along for the bit or in the industry. But like my friends who have nothing to do with dance, I don't film that. I don't film family. I don't film my students' faces. I also that's something interesting that people think and tell me all the time, like, "You really don't show your students or you teaching," and I go, "'Cause that's a private thing. I don't need the internet seeing my kids," and I mean, people leave nasty comments regardless. I don't need anything bad said about a child. So it is not worth the views I'll get for me to show my children. Like once in a while, I'll do like a funny video with them, but like never them dancing, never them none of their faces. I'm just that's not my vibe. So it's kind of like, what do I do? How do I do it? And there are moments in my life where I'm like, darn, I wish I would have had that on film. But I kind of believe that the universe is telling me what to film and what not to film. And there are definitely days where I'm like, I feel like I have to film something just to film something, just so the algorithm keeps like pushing me. But I try not to post more than twice a day. And I try not to post more than once a day, really.
What are your what are your friends who are not part of this world? What do they all think of this?
Oh my gosh. So the people in Orlando could care less. Like all of my friends here, none of them care. And I think that's just because 'cause I've set the precedent, like, that I'm living in the moment, and I'm not gonna film me going to my friend's birthday party. I'm not gonna film that kinda stuff. So they don't really even see that side of it until what they see on social media.
Okay. So, can we talk a little bit about, as your social media presence grew, how the impact on building relationships with ballet brands grew? Like, how did that kind of work out for you?
Yeah. I had done a couple paid advertisements before I had the job. Nothing like 200, $300 here, like nothing you can really do much with in the long term of things. But once I worked for a brand, I became a very polarizing figure because I was aligned with a certain person, or people assumed I was aligned with a certain person, and I was the polar opposite. So when I quit within a week, my phone blew up from all those brands saying, "Do you want a job? Do you want a job?" And I very verbally said, and you can ask anyone, "I don't wanna ever work for a brand again. I can't handle this, and I don't trust that not every brand is like that." So I could care at that point, I cared less what brands thought. I just wanted to live my life and be free again. And then brands started talking about me around me. So we're all connected. Like everyone in the retail business, everyone knows everything. So for the first 2 months, people were either calling me to say, "Oh, so and so said this about you," or "Did you know that this is what they're saying about you now?" And I'm like, "I don't care." And then that slowly turned into, "This brand wants to know if you want to work for them. This brand is really interested if you would work for them." And I'm like, "Well, they have my email and number. I don't know why they're talking to you about it." So it was this really weird like transition period. And then I got an agent, and she's wonderful. And she does all of my collabs, any of like the sponsored posts I get. She gets me invited to like high end parties and events and stuff. Her first day on the job, she emailed every single dance brand in the world and be like, "Just so you know, if you want Riley to post anything for you, he's not doing it for free. And this is how much he's charging." And I was like, "Lady boss, like, get it." And that kind of opened the doors for collabs that I can't talk about yet. But I think the reception was actually very, very well. I was like the guest fitter at the National Dance Trade Show in Canada. So every brand had to sign off that I was okay to be the one fitting point shoes at that event because they like brought in like dancers from all over Canada that paid to meet me and be fit by me. So I had every shoe possible from every brand that Canada has. Once I got the sign off from every brand, I was like shocked. I was like, okay, I think we're over this. I think people are over I think I'm on good terms with everyone, which I always should have been because I was always a good person. And I never felt the way that certain people that I used to work for felt. So once that was over, it's been smooth sailing. Like people don't know, and I'm not going to tell you, but I have my hands everywhere on everything right now. I'm a part of a lot of different things, and I have a lot of different contracts that have lots of legal lines around them, and I'm really good at following them.
So, can I ask you a question about that? I mean, ballet brands specifically. If you're independent and you've got all these ballet brands coming to you for, doing promotion, collabs, whatever it is, how do you remain independent and brand agnostic when you've probably got a lot of competing brands, like brands that compete with one another, approaching you about promotional stuff?
Well, I say I'm a independent consultant. That's when random people on the street who don't know who I am ask me what I do, I just say I'm a consultant of sorts. And they say, "Well, what do you consult on?" And I say, "Oh, I work on different athletic brands, if you will." Just because it's easier to explain to a normal person. For me, I always look at every brand as a different person. And I don't know, my brain has always worked this way just because it's my ADHD. I almost like put them in their own countries of sorts. And each country is just trying to do their best. I go off of the ideas that they have. So if they want my opinion on something, I remove myself from everything I know about what's going on and I just say, "Here's my advice for what you presented to me. What you're saying is this. This is what you're trying to create. I don't think that's going to work for you because of X, Y, and Z that you've already done, or I think that's great. Tweak this." It's very simple, just because I keep it very removed. And I will say honestly, a lot of actually every brand I've worked with has been very respectful. They don't even want to know what the other brands are doing. And I think that's funny because you'll see the same product from different brands, but from my experience, they're not like trying to copy each other. They just are doing it because a need in the market. And then as far as like paid collaborations as a social media influencer, because that's the divide I have to remind myself too. It's like there's the influencer side of my life, and then there's the point you consultant guy. That's a completely different gig. So I have to remind myself they're not the same. So when I'm presented with like a collaboration, my agent does all of that. She does the contracts. I don't touch it. She just
So,
asks
but
me if I
she
want to go through it.
but I would imagine she's setting up some sort of, like, category because I wanna talk about the influencer side, like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the point shoe fitting,
Exclusivity.
I totally understand, but, you're gonna fit dancers with the shoe that works best for them. But on
Yeah.
the influencer side, like, any kind of, brand marketing out there, there's always category exclusivity. So, like, how is your agent sifting through all of that? Like, I know you do a ton of skincare stuff, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
like, I'm sure you've got a million skincare brands approaching you and your agent. How do you guys sift through all of that and say, "Yeah, we're gonna take that one, but that category is now taken"?
It's all about timing, right? Like, I do not do a lot of people will throw out really long exclusivity, like, "We'll pay you for this ad, you can't post about another brand in the same category for a year." And then we go, "No, how about we give you 7 days?" And then we work our way into something that's happy, right? So, it's all about negotiations, and I'm CC'd on every single email. I don't respond to a single one. I love my agent. Her name's Taylor, shout out. She's amazing, and she always has my back. And when I say I'm not comfortable with something, she goes back and she says, okay. And we always end up getting to like the most reasonable amount and reasonable terms. But I don't know if I could have done that without her. So, as someone who is on social media, and not an agent is not for everyone, right? Like, I don't believe that every influencer, in terms of being a real influencer, we'll talk about like dance influencers from brands and stuff later. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like, you are an adult. This is your job. I could not do what I do without her. I could not negotiate the legal print of it all is way over my head. So I trust her with my life and I know that it's going to work out.
Did you get an agent because you were just being overwhelmed and you just couldn't handle all the work, or did you get an agent in order to grow the influencer side of your business?
All of the above and then more. So, ironically, I made a video. Everyone was doing their like 2026, like things I'm hoping for in 2026. And I'm not that person. I'm just like grateful for the things I have and I'll ride whatever wave I have. But I made a quick little video that said, here are the things I want in 2026. I'm going to shoot for the moon because why not? Two of them were I want my own reality TV show. I want an agent. The next week, I get an email in my personal email box from a production company from a TV network that wants to sit down with me to discuss having a TV show. Once that meeting was over, ironically, the next week I got emails from 3 different agencies that manage influencers that wanted to know if I needed representation. So I sat down with all 3 of them on Zoom and I picked my agency that I have now because I really believe that my personal manager, if you will, fighting for me nonstop and is always trying to get me in the room where everything is happening.
How does this work, right? Like,
Yeah.
because agents, especially in like the ballet sphere, is not really, doesn't really happen very often. Or maybe it does. And I just don't know.
Well, well, it has. People have tried to make like ballet agents and for like dancing and stuff, and it really doesn't work that way. So in my world, all of my point shoe stuff, all of the like travel, the fitting, all of that, I do that myself. That's the only thing I'm capable of doing. That's the max out I can do. But anything with brands, collaborations, sending me to events, making sure I'm going where I'm supposed to be going for those events and making sure I'm getting paid the way I'm supposed to be paid, that all goes through my agent. So my agent takes no cut of my point shoe stuff. She only gets a percentage of the stuff she books me for. And I think most influencers are like that, most dance influencers. So if you look at like I'm not speaking for other people, but I can speak about what I know. Like Luna Montana, she's a big ballet influencer, if you will. She just signed with a new agency. So she all of those collabs are going through her agencies, like the clothing brand, that kind of stuff. So that's all taken care of through her agency. Same with me. Like anything skincare, whatever I'm doing, that's taken through that. But like all of her dance stuff, like her going to dance here, her going to dance there, that's probably all on her own.
And she's a freelancer, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. And now a brief pause to hear a word from our sponsors.
Everyone talks about summer like it's supposed to be carefree. But if this season brings up money stress, body stress, family stress, or social stress, that's real too. Growth therapy can help with that. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person visits, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/book now to get started. That's growtherapy.com/book now. growtherapy.com/book now. Availability and coverage by state and insurance plan.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Summer intensives are coming fast, and we just published our Summer Intensive Essentials Guide over on our website. We focused on products dancers really rely on, the things that set them up for an incredible summer. Everything in it has been used by real dancers at real programs, and wherever we could, we made a point to include products from dance-run businesses because we love supporting people who are building something in this industry. And don't forget to pick up our very own corrections journal to help you have an amazing summer. Some of the links are affiliate links, so shopping through our guide is a great way to support the show at no extra cost to you. You'll find the links in our show notes or head over to our website, ballethelpdesk.com. And back to the episode. Okay, this is kind of helpful because I don't know, what can I say? Like, I mostly post like pictures of my children, right? So,
Yeah.
like, all of this. So, for a lot of people, it feels really like, wait, how does this all work? It's kind of mythical. I don't really understand.
Yeah.
So,
And you get and with I think it's the best way to describe it, or here's something that a lot of people don't realize. As speaking for myself, I get paid every time you watch something of mine. I get paid every time you like something of mine on Instagram. I don't get paid for that, but that pushes me to get paid for it. On TikTok, every view, every video, that pays my bills. And it's not consistent, right? Like some months I make thousands upon thousands of dollars for some random reason. And then there are months I make $900. Like you just don't know. So you don't rely on it. So that's why you do the brand collabs where it's like brands want me to talk about them. Okay, that's thousands of dollars per post. And then there's money from that, like obviously my agent fees or whatever, and the taxes. But if I'm talking about a dance brand that paid me to do it, it's because, and I very much am, I will not do a collab or paid advertisement if I haven't tried the product or if I don't believe in the product. So there are brands I will not work with, and they're on my list of things I will not work with.
just want to understand like the paid collab per platform. When you do something like that, talk to me a little bit about like what you do on TikTok versus what you do on Instagram versus, I don't know, do you do Facebook versus what you do on YouTube? Like, and what that all looks like. Are they the same? Is it different?
Yeah, and I always say there's different audiences because more dance moms watch me on Instagram than they do on TikTok. And if you see me on Facebook, that's not me. There's 3 fake Riley Thomas Weber accounts stealing all of my content off of TikTok, posting it on Facebook, and Facebook will do nothing about it. I cannot get it removed. I've petitioned. Yeah,
That's
so
so
if you're
interesting because it keeps hitting me up saying like, "Oh, hey, don't you know this person? Don't you want to friend them?" And I'm like,
No,
"I
I have
don't."
a personal Facebook, like, account that I've always had since I was in high school, but I tried to start a page that was just because everyone was coming for stealing my stuff and pretending to be me, and so tried to create one, and then they reported that as fake. So these, like, fake accounts reported my account as fake. So I'm done, and I'm just letting it exist because Facebook refuses to do anything about it. They said it's because I don't have that media on Facebook, it's all on other platforms. They were the first person to upload my media. So I even put like little copyright things on the videos that they stole and they posted it and Facebook won't do anything.
Which is so
So,
interesting because they own Instagram. You would
and
think
I'm
that.
verified on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what's going on. And I don't lose I'm annoyed that they're making a lot of money off of me because I don't make money off of Facebook. So, they're making a crap ton of money off of my videos, and I'm too booked and busy to give a crap, honestly. Like,
Is that
steal
something
my
your
stuff.
agent can like, is that something that you can put your agent on?
Yeah, we've talked about it, and it's just there would be, like, lawyers involved, I believe, and like I said, I need just, like, an easy life, and if you're seeing I honestly, I see what they're cutting it and posting it as, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess it's free advertisement," like, at this point. I mean, people are like, "I saw it on Facebook," and I'm like, "Well, at least you saw it, and now you're here, and I'm getting money from you, so it's fine."
Yeah. Okay, so talk to us about the different platforms and how that all works.
Yeah. So TikTok. So what I do is I base everything off of TikTok. So I'll record something, edit it on TikTok or edit it on CapCut or whatever other platform I'm using and put it on TikTok because you can do longer, short. It's there's long form, short form. Short form. YouTube is usually long form because it's horizontal. That's how I remember it. Short form is vertical. TikTok, if it's over a minute, I get paid for it. So that's why very rarely I post anything under a minute because why would I work on something if I'm not going to get money for it? On Instagram, if you post a reel longer than 3 minutes, it doesn't get pushed to the public. It only gets pushed to your followers. So if I have a gorgeous 7 minute video on TikTok that's doing very, very well, I have to find a way to either edit it down to 3 minutes or do it in parts. And the parts never work out because no one's like, oh, stay tuned for part two. It doesn't really work out. So I post about 1/10 of what I post on TikTok on Instagram. And YouTube, I once in a while will post a short, but this is where I'm like the laziest and worst influencer because I could be making so much money off of YouTube. But I'm loving the whole teaching and fitting pointy part of my life to care about what the camera is actually doing. So I get paid by those platforms that I post on. And when a brand, say a skincare brand or something, reaches out to my agent and says, "We want to do this collab. We have a new product coming out. We want Riley to do a collab with it. Can we have his media kit?" A media kit is basically information data from your social medias, like what your engagement is like, how many followers do you have, how many people are actually commenting on the videos you're posting, what's your engagement rate, and you send them your media kit. And that's how you kind of negotiate. Like you can have 1,000,005 followers, but if your engagement is crap, you're not going to get paid very well. So for me, I have what, if you combine everything, like 750,000 followers, but I have very high engagement because everyone is commenting. Everyone's like, wants to tell their story about point shoes, which I really appreciate it. Keep doing it, guys. Or everyone's hating on me. And so they leave hate comments, which please keep doing because I'm getting paid for it. So because my engagement is so high, I can negotiate much higher than someone who has the same followers or me or more.
So
So
can
then
I ask you
how do you get that engagement? Are you commenting and trying to help keep that engagement going, or it's just you just have fans who just love you and just want to like keep sharing?
So, like I said, I'm the worst influencer. I respond to comments in the first 2 minutes and then I go on with my day. If I spent all day responding to those comments, my engagement would be so high. But then that would be destroying my life because I have too much going on. So I try and do it within the first 2 minutes. But something about what I post makes people want to comment. And then somewhat because it's ballet and everyone thinks they know ballet better than everyone, people harp on it. The minute someone spells something wrong in the comments, you'll get one like Karen being like, it's actually spelled this way. And then someone's like, well, in my country, in this method of ballet, we call it this. And it starts a whole dialogue and war. I don't really read it, but I like it because it helps my engagement.
so
I'm
can I
very
ask you
honest.
who who is paying you? Like when you're on TikTok and Instagram, who's paying you?
TikTok directly. Meta pays me and then TikTok. So,
Okay.
like I said, I get a certain rate per view. Full transparency, I don't care if the world knows this. There was a month I made $17,000 on TikTok just posting,
Wow.
Whoa.
just posting. I started out as like 2 1 month, then 5 grand 1 month, 12, then 17, and then like 15, and then like 9. It was all over the place. And then TikTok sold. And then I went from that to like $300 a month. And now it's nowhere near as, and everyone knows this, it's nowhere near what it used to be like. All creators are like that. But I can theoretically live off what I get paid just for the views because people are always going back and watching my videos. So when they go back and watch it, a new video resurfaces, I get paid for that. So I think it's hilarious that my boyfriend's like, I want to go on a vacation. And I'm like, well, you should download TikTok and watch all my videos. It will pay for literally your flight. And he still won't do it. Still won't do it.
Riley, it is so funny. No one in my family listens to my podcast.
Right?
No one.
No, and it's not until like my extended family is very, very removed from my life. Like we're related and we love each other, but like we don't check in on each other. And it's though they're really interested when they see me like on a beach in like Ibiza. They want to know all about that. But when I'm in like New York with a famous dancer, they don't care about that.
Sure. Because it's what they know, right?
Exactly. But so yeah, I get that's how I get paid. That's how all influencers get paid. Then add on top of that the paid collabs. And that's not so like I get a lot of free stuff. And I'm very grateful. I'm very honored. Like I would say when I go on a trip, which again, the last 9 weeks I've been on an airplane every single week. There was a 3 week period I was not home and I did 4 different flights. I was living out of one suitcase. But every time I come home, there's like 5 to 20 packages of just random stuff I don't know. And then I open it on camera, or I don't open on camera because I'm not obligated to. It's free PR, but I haven't paid for skincare in like 7 months. Ever since I started talking about me in point shoes, because I don't dance anymore, but I try on point shoes because it helps me understand them better as a fitter. I'll get DMs and emails from brands that are like, "What's your point shoe size? What's the equivalent in this?" And then 6 months later or 2 months later, there's 20 pairs of point shoes sitting outside my door, which I would donate if someone had feet the size of a 6'4" man, but they're designed for me, so they're not really gonna help the mass public.
Okay. So wait, I just want to understand a little bit. So they send you this stuff, but you're under no obligation to open it, just in hopes that maybe you'll make a video about it, which will then help them promote their stuff, but you're under no obligation. You have no contract.
Yeah, so and I try and be fair, like, if a brand is sending me something, like, that takes time, like a point shoe, I will probably talk about it. Our class was very, very good to me while I was right before I started working for the job I used to have, but I couldn't talk about it because no one knew yet that I was working for that brand, and now sell so many R class shoes, they should cut me a check just for the amount of shoes I sell,
What's our
but
class? What is it?
yeah, our class, so it's the
Yeah.
factory that, like, you might know it as Russian Point, it's not Russian
Mm,
Point, but
okay.
it
Yeah.
was like, Russian Point had their shoes made by our class in Russia. Our class was the original one. They also make shoes for Vertice and Suffolk.
What you see on social media is always the final product. What goes into it behind the scenes that people don't know about?
So for me, for the fittings, it's actually really simple. Call it my fancy camera or my regular camera. It depends on if I film on my phone, which I call my regular camera. It's because I wasn't planning on filming, but I have like a DJI camera, like one of those fancy ones, and I use a microphone. If I'm filming on that, it probably takes me half an hour to edit a video because I have to upload it to my computer. Then I have to transfer it to an editing software. Then I have to it's called a LUTs on it. Like I have to change the colors. And then I have to transfer that to my phone because it's easier to edit it on my phone. It's faster. It's a lot of transferring. And then I just post it. So it's about half hour per video. If it's a paid collab, those I love doing, but there's so much work because there's so much edit. I'll film, they'll give me a brief of what they want me to talk about. They say, do what you want, but you have to hit these key talking points about the product. Then I do my best. I send it to my agent. She's always the in between person. And then they watch it and then they send back edits. And depending on how the contract is, some contracts say you only are allowed to ask me to edit it twice. You can't any more than twice. I just did a collaboration that's coming out pretty far away in the future. And we forgot to put that in the contract. And they've asked for 12 rounds of edits already. And I'm about ready to like bash my face into a wall. Because at the end of the day, I want it to be authentic to me. I don't want to feel like I'm doing an ad. And I think that's what I pride myself on is like I've done lots of paid advertisements. That's how you make money in this industry. But I try to make it as honest and authentic as possible. And I had a company that I had done a paid advertisement for, and then they wanted another. And I said no, because I want to do it in a very specific way you don't want. And then I kept saying no. And then I said, here are my terms. I want to say, you sent this to me. So I'm trying. And I want everyone to know that you sent it to me. And because I said no so many times, they offered me a lot more money for it.
That's good. Okay, can I
And
ask you
0
a quick
edits.
question? What editing software do you use?
I use CapCut because I'm not a technological person.
No, that's great because I'm sure people are going to be asking, like, oh, well, what does he use for that?
Well, I
So,
pay for it too. I paid for that for a year. I use that. I also use Canva sometimes for certain things.
uh-huh.
And I paid for that. You have to do it all in the paid stuff. But a lot of it is if I'm transferring a video, if it's just a point shoe video, I edit it on my computer, like just to make it look better. And it's still like a half hour fitting in that video. Then I airdrop it to my phone and then I cut it directly on TikTok.
Okay, and then second question. So I've noticed in some of your videos now, like you'll take like a can of Bloom and just place it in there. Is
Oh my
that
god,
is that like new paid advertising where they like pay you to promote a product but use it in everyday life? I'm sorry, I know this is a little bit in the weeds, but
no,
I've
no, no,
noticed that
because
that's
so
happening a
no.
little more.
No, there's 2 things. It's funny because I did Capezio kindly sent me free things, and I talked about it. I'm also really good friends with someone that works at Capezio on a friend level, not like a work level. And so I got free products from Capezio. So I thought I would make a nice little post about that. Capezio had a point shoe seminar 2 weeks later. Some girl who owns a store that I've never met in my life stood up in front of all these retailers and asked Capezio face to face in front of everyone, how much are you paying Riley to say good things about your brand? And I'm like, one, lady, I don't know. Keep your mouth shut. But two, $0. Capezio, as of now, has never paid me to say anything nice about them. And to be honest, you can go back and watch me saying terrible things about Capezio back in the day. So there's that. When it came to the Bloom thing, there some creator, and no disrespect for her, I guess, went out of her way to make a video saying like when one of your favorite ballet creators, the one of the only ones you trust, something along those lines, is a sellout because they did an undisclosed paid advertisement. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess now people are going to hate me because I need to pay my bills. But to answer your question, so there's different guidelines for different things. If you see, and you'll see it all the time, people don't put paid advertisement or paid partnership or whatever on a lot of things because if they don't do that, look at their hashtags. There's a certain amount of hashtags you have to do to disclose something, and that's the law. You can look it up, and all of our legal team looks into that. So if you see partnership, so let's just say I'm not again using Capezio, even though I'm not a Capezio person right now. You know what I mean? But if I did Capezio partner or Capezio that technically hits the requirement of what you have to disclose. So people are doing that because when you put paid partnership, the algorithm doesn't push the videos.
Okay, so talk about this a little bit more. So using hashtags is the way that if people want to see like is this paid or is this just like them doing a
Yeah.
non-paid like
Yeah.
endorsement? That's the difference.
That's the difference. So if you see any product in my videos and you don't see product name, hashtag product name partnership, and you don't see paid partnership, that means it's in there because I want it to be. Sometimes the TikTok thinks I'm doing something. I had to put a paid partnership. It might have been the Capezio video, but it wasn't. It was going to demonetize me if I didn't do that because it said I was doing an advertisement, even though I wasn't. So I had to put paid partnership to have that video go up. And I think maybe that's where people got that from. But I wanted the video out there. And TikTok has all these bots that watch everything you do to try and flag stuff. And you can't talk to anyone at TikTok. So it just wasn't worth it. So I just put it up because I didn't care. I didn't know that that was going to cause such a stir in the Capezio world.
I touched such nerve. I was just something that I observed where I was like, oh, this
No,
is so
no,
interesting.
yeah, no, it doesn't it's not that it touched a nerve, it's just that this isn't the first time someone brought up Bloom to me because I did my one of my first partnerships that I got paid a very good chunk of money for, and if anyone says, "Well, I wouldn't have done that because 'cause you're a sellout," it's like, do you know how many energy drinks I drink a day? Okay, if someone's gonna give me free energy drinks and it's a drink I'm actually drinking and then pay me a livable wage for a month off of that, you would do it too, and I don't believe anyone that says they would.
And I just think this is why we're talking about influencing,
Yeah,
right?
and I
Because
wasn't
it's
coming
like,
for you. I wasn't
and
coming for you in any
no,
way,
no,
shape, or
no,
form.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. This is, I in no way feel attacked. I hope you don't feel like I was in
No,
any way.
I'm
It's
glad
more
we
I
get to
want
talk
to
about it.
understand too, and I think parents and dancers need to understand like what they're signing up for, right? Like what they're aspiring to be, because there's a lot of kids out there that want to be influencers or brand ambassadors and things like that. But I do think that there are some things where it's like there are these things that you have to do and go in with your eyes a little bit wide open, which is why we have these conversations, right? And you're such a great person to talk to because you are open and honest about these things and you'll talk about it in a very real and authentic way, which I think helps people break it down and understand what it is. And now, time for a quick ad break. We are now welcoming reviews of year round ballet school programs on Ballet Help Desk, whether it's a full time program, after school, a conservatory, or a company affiliated school. We welcome all of them. If your dancer has been part of a program, please consider sharing your experience. Imagine there is a family out there right now trying to make an important decision, and your insight could help them feel more confident about their next step. Reviews are completely anonymous, and it takes just a few minutes to complete. And let everyone learn all about the good, the bad, and everything in between.
Now, back to the episode.
What is the difference between like you just having a product with you and having a product that you talk about and a product that you engage with and then a product that you use and you're like showing people how to use it? Are there different tiers of like payment and collabs that you do that pay you to do different things? Or is it just authentic? And, if there's this serum that you really, really like and you're doing a skincare routine or like a get ready with me and you just use it and then you just have a bloom by you. Like what
Yeah.
does that look like?
So, like, for me so think about it, you get, like, if I post just a story, that's and a brand is in it, that's a completely different pay scale than if I did a post, right? Like, a story is, like, a fourth of the price of what I would do for a post, but I like to think that generally I talk about whatever I want, products I want, and I do a lot of stuff for free just because I like it, Me talking about the skincare I'm doing that day gets me free products from brands and gets me brand recognition. And then the brands ask me to do paid collaboration. So it's kind of like a good faith. Like I'm talking about it for free in hopes that it's going to lead somewhere in the future. But sometimes people have said this to me that I trust what you talk about on a normal basis. So if it's a paid advertisement, I trust that you actually have good faith in it. And I do. And that is something I pride myself on. But yeah, no, and I think this is where it gets a little dicey, especially when you're using children for free advertisement, dance brands, and you call them brand influencers. Because, like, the whole point of being an influencer is that you are your authentic self and you are trying to influence people to either do what you do or like what you like. So, when you name yourself brand influencer for a certain brand, you are telling the world that you are pushing that brand for free labor. And I find it really interesting.
Okay, so can we talk about that? Because, like, I think we were talking before we started the recording, is the difference between being an influencer and being a brand ambassador, specifically dancers who are students who are aspiring to become brand ambassadors. Because, like, my son had a friend who was a brand ambassador for someone, and all he ever heard from her was like, I can't go get lunch because I got to do an unboxing video or I got to do a promotional video for whatever it was she was repping. But it feels to me like, whereas adult influencers, this is their living.
Yeah.
But there's also like this whole group of ballet students who are aspiring to be influencers, but they end up being brand ambassadors. And what's that all about?
Yeah, let's break down the difference. And honestly, the terms sometimes are the same thing. So if you think about I'm not going to name names, but like a famous ballerina in a major company who is an ambassador for a certain brand, right? She wears the point shoes, she wears the leotards. She's getting a fat salary for that. And I can tell you that for many reasons that it's true. Ballerinas in major companies who are on the posters for things and are pushing out products for that line, that is a salary that most people will never dream of having, let
And
alone.
more power to them, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Like, no
that's a
disrespect in any way, shape, or form. And I think when parents see that brands want kid influencers or child ambassadors, that's what they're signing up for. They're not signing up for that. They're signing up. So, influencers in the dance world, specifically like the student world, are given free products and are required to post about those products across whatever brand it is. All brands do the same stuff. There's not really a money transfer. There are sometimes, but 95% of the kids that are influencers for a brand are not getting anything other than product. And they're probably only honestly getting like $1,200 a year. It's not even they're not, it's not like they're even getting free point shoes every month. It's like, here's some stuff, make content with it. And my issue with that, and I've always felt weird about it, is to me that's like free child labor. So you're trusting marketing, like you're trying to use kids to make free content and then you're using it as your own and they're not getting a lot of recognition for it because it's not like they're reposting it and using it 100% on their their pages, right? And this isn't, again, I'm talking about all brands across, I'm not talking about any specific one. So being an influence, again, the term influencer. So if I'm a blank influencer, you're already telling the world that what you're saying about it is not honest because you're given the products and then told you have to pretend that you like it or talk about it. So it's not genuine. And a lot of times in those contracts, they're not allowed to post with any other dancewear brand. And it's like, okay, you're not genuine. It's not genuine. And then so now you've got a fake 12-year-old all over the internet right now who looks like now, if she's an influencer, that might make her look difficult to work with in a company.
That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
I think so. A lot when you're a kid influencer, you basically have to be mom managed. And know what directors don't want to have to deal with? Moms of 16-year-olds, because it's kind of like the mama bear protecting their young. But now with social media and that kind of fame, there's this whole generation of dance moms that are trying to get clout from their kid being so good and being represented with a brand. And I see it all the time where it's like, even in a point shoe fitting, now there are people that walk in and videotape everything they do with me because they want the content for their social media page. And then 9 out of 10 times I go, that's the mom, not the kid. The kid could care less what she was doing right now, but the mom wants a recognition for the kid. And those are the moms that when the kid doesn't get into the highest level at the summer program, they make the phone call to the director and are like, well, my kid was in this level at that summer program. There's a correlation between the two types of aggressive people. And especially with these influencers, it's like being these kid influencers. They're like pageant queens. I once was stalked by someone who thought I could make their child an influencer for a brand, like waited outside by my car for 4 hours to try and talk to me. And it just I don't ever want to see that person again. Like, it's very uncomfortable, and I think like, there's a fine line, and at the end of the day, do I think being an influencer is really gonna help your ballet career? No. Just like I believe that you don't have to do big ballet competitions to be in a company. You're just seeing it on social media because 'cause we're a culture now on social media. So you're seeing a certain type of person get a certain type of influencership, getting an influencership and then doing well at a competition that that brand is also sponsoring. It's all related. You know what
Wait,
I
what?
mean?
Talk about that.
I mean, I'm not saying like this is true. I'm just saying, oh, you do well at a competition, a brand sees you magically. Now you're an influencer for that brand.
So
I see.
it's good exposure for the dancer if
Yeah.
they do well, that it's sort of like, I don't know, it's almost like a recruiting tool for the brands.
Yeah. I mean, brands want really good kids. If you're just a kid, if you're just a dancer, say you make it into a big company, like you're in the court of ballet, and you never did a ballet competition, and you had social media, but you never really posted, like a brand's not going to reach out to you. Doesn't matter how good you are, because you're not getting them any marketing, you're not getting them any exposure. But if you're at those competitions, posting at those competitions, or you're at this summer program, posting the summer, the more you post, the more brands see that kind of stuff. So if you're the kid winning the ballet competition and the competition is posting all of that stuff, why wouldn't a brand want to sponsor you kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Right, and then when the brand sponsors you, though, they're not paying you, they're just giving you stuff.
Depends on I can't go into too many details, but I would say 99% of the influencers that are children in the world are not getting cash payment. It's all product. And everyone's different. Every brand is different, but there are certain people that do get money. Very few.
Okay, so this is really good food for or information for parents to realize that this is not a revenue driver. It is a product driver that then your kid, regardless of if they like it or not, has to promote it. So let's say they get something that's kind of ugly or they don't
Oh,
like it or all of that kind of stuff. And they still have to like come up with something, right?
yep, absolutely. And the amount of times I see it because I talk to dancers all the time that say, "Ugh, I hate that leotard, but I had to post about it. And now I'm embarrassed that I'm in it because I hate it." But then you go to their post and it's like, I'm just loving this leotard. It just really is beautiful quality. It's like, girl, so we're basically teaching kids to lie at a young age for brand benefit. Again, not a specific brand, all brands do this.
When a brand ambassador gets their stuff, like, you're given scripts or talking points and you go back and forth on edits and stuff, and, that adult world is very different. If I'm a brand ambassador for a dance brand, what do I have to do behind the scenes in order to get my content up there? Like, is it up to me to figure it out, or do they send a list of, like, these are the things you have to do and say?
A little bit of both. So you're probably expected to do an unboxing of whatever they send you. You're probably expected to post you in that outfit. Sometimes brands will send out like, "Hey, this is the product that we're launching. Here's what you need to mention in your videos. Go." So you're basically doing what I get paid to do for free. And so
Right.
whether
But
it's
you have no say, right?
yeah, you get a little bit of freedom, obviously, make it your own. And there's a say part of it, like you can do this, you can do that, but the brand has the right to be like, we're not going to post that, or make you do all that work and they don't repost it or whatever, just because they
Yeah,
don't
but,
like
like,
it.
if they send you something, like, let's say they send you a leotard and it is deeply unflattering, right? You can't be like, "Look, they sent me this. It's not really my vibe. I don't really like it," but if you are, really, let's just say you're, I don't know, whatever, like, inverted triangle, right? And it's like, it flatters my shoulders and this is nice, but, I don't really like the fabric and I feel like it, makes my legs look short. You can't say stuff like that. It has to all be positive.
Yes and no. I mean, I don't have any students in the influencer world right now, so I can't go off of what's happening at the current times. But my students that were influencers for brands, they didn't really get any feedback. It was just create something, tag us in it. And
Really?
yeah, it really wasn't that, it's not that deep because the brand isn't losing money on it because they're
Right,
not paying them.
they're just
Right.
giving them stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe I'm just naive, but, like, what's the point of being a brand ambassador as a ballet student?
Nail on the head right there. I mean, it's the hope that you doing all that free labor for free product gets you something, gets you somewhere. And I worked with people like students who just they bop from one brand to the next because they want the free thing, because they think that's going to make, and I will tell you this, it is 9 out of 10 times the mom, not the kid.
And is it about, like, status,
Yes,
right?
like
Like,
being the cool kid, having the Stanley, it's just like that. Whatever that product, whatever the new thing is, that's like being a brand influencer or whatever for these kids. They see it as, "Oh, I finally made it." And then you look at these kids and you go, "Oh, you're really pretty and you're working really, really hard." Or, well, how do you have all these followers? How do you have 200,000 followers as an 11-year-old? And then you go, look at their engagement at 0. Oh, because you bought those followers. There's a whole world of people who buy their followers and stuff, and huge brands do it too. Because if you go in once they post something, look at the first 5 minutes of comments, they're all bots. And then in 5 minutes, those comments are gone because someone went in and deleted them all. And this is huge brands, all and not just ballet. This is across the world. So if you ever see like an account that is following two people, it has 2 million followers and 4 posts, all fake.
yeah. Okay, so
Like, do you want me to be real? Like, I can be real on
yeah,
camera.
we want you to be,
Yes.
Okay.
like, really real.
And this is probably going to get me in trouble. I just don't care. I'm Riley, the ballet teacher, Riley, the influencer, Riley, the point you guy went up. What I'm seeing on the internet scares me a little bit because you get these kids that are just so hungry for free things in hopes that these brands are going to repost them and tag them and all of this stuff, that it just worries me for their future. Like, how do they handle rejection? How do they handle just knowing that their self worth is more important than how many followers they have? And it's just really starting to worry me. I remember a bunch of people one year were freaking out that their kid lost 1,000 followers and now they only have 6,000 instead of 7,000. How did they lose 1,000 followers? And it's like, why does it matter?
Right.
Your child is 12, they're healthy, they're happy. Why are you as a parent making such a big emphasis, putting an emphasis on that? That doesn't matter. And I just get so worried for these kids that how are they going to handle the real world? Because you can get stuck in this world. You can get really deeply involved and go down the rabbit hole of like, I don't have followers, I don't matter. Oh, I saw this picture of this girl and she has perfect feet and perfect lines. I'm like, girl, that's a lot of that's Facetune. A lot of that's so easy to hyperextend. I mean, people do have those facilities, but so much of it is edited that where's the line between reality and pretend? And
Well,
I
and
just,
it's interesting that you say that because, we get like, we've done these parent education panels at competitions, and we've done a couple at some dancewear stores. And we get this question all the time, tell us about brand ambassadorships. How can I get my child involved with brand ambassadorships? So we don't know anything. I mean, I have a marketing background, so I kind of know that world, but I have biases when it comes to that world.
oh,
But here's my question is like,
yeah.
and it's back to like, what's the point? Like, if you're a ballet student, to what end? If you're focusing on like brand ambassadorships and the stuff, that becomes a lot of work on
Mhm.
top of your ballet training. So, like, how were the kids that you knew balancing ballet training with all of their responsibilities around being a brand ambassador?
With my students that and I have students who are ambassadors and influencers across all brands, but it becomes like the chore they don't wanna do. So it takes the fun out of it because they're doing school all day, they're doing this, "Oh, I have to drive to this place to get something so I can go film this." It just becomes a chore that they don't actually like, and they almost resent it, and, you know, I grew up very, very poor. And I always think, why are all these ambassadors and influencers very well off? They don't need free product. They can buy their point shoes. Why are we not putting that into kids who need them? Or if you are as a brand doing that, at least advertise that a little bit. Now, I know a couple brands who have said to me face to face, Riley, if any of your kids can't afford anything, let us know and we'll take care of them. And I'm deeply honored and I will cherish those brands and I keep that on the down low. So there are brands doing really, really good things and not trying to profit off of that exposure. But why are we giving kids who have the means to do ballet at the cost that in which it costs all the free stuff and not the kids who can't? Because, and then again, it's the rabbit hole of like, well, they don't have the social media presence. And then you have a huge group of people pretending they're the haves on the internet when they're really the have nots. And they're just spending money they don't have to try and keep up with everyone because they think that's what this is. And it just breaks my heart. I'm like, you're going into debt for your kid to be like you're going to massive debt in hopes that your kid might get a ballet job making $750 to $1,000 a week, and you're losing money and you're freaking out because you don't have a brand sponsorship when you only got 4 pairs of pointe shoes a year from that brand, or you only got, like, leotards? Like, why are we pretending that this is real life?
Well, and a lot of people too, I don't know if you feel confident or comfortable speaking about this, but a lot of people feel like bigger social media following allows for better results at competitions, which then allows for bigger brand ambassadorship. Is there a cycle in there that we're just missing, or is this all just a giant myth that everyone is kind of pushing but it's not actually real?
I think people are getting social media and brand ambassadorships and competitions. I think there's something a little off that people are missing in that equation, which is the "you scratch my back, I scratch your back" equation. And I'm not saying anything that I'm not comfortable saying. There's a lot of that goes on in the ballet competition world. And I've seen some stuff. I've had some stuff happen to my kids where I go, "Oh, this is the game we're playing here. Oh, got it." That makes sense because XYZ happened, and all of a sudden, your scores are this, when 2 months ago they were this. I get it. It's sad. It breaks my heart, and I do think there are competitions doing amazing things. I think I think a lot of what goes on at ballet competitions are amazing, and I think the original principle, the founding principle of each of those competitions is right on track with where it should be. I don't know if it's being implemented that way anymore, but there's a lot of that in the background, and not all the time, and not every competition, but it does happen. It happens in anything and everything. So even summer programs, I mean, it's who you know, who you're friends with, who your teacher's friends with, and it's just sad. And I don't think it's that if you're an ambassador, you'll do better at a competition over someone who's not an ambassador. But if they know who you are, maybe that will help kind of thing. But it's more about who your teacher is, that kind of stuff.
So, how does any of this roll up to actually having a ballet career?
You tell me, because I would like to know as well. I don't know, I just feel like such a curmudgeon about this just because I think kids should be kids. And I just truly believe that we're taking the joy out of things. Like dance should be joy, dance should be happiness. And now you have to know by age 9 if you want to be a professional dancer because you got to train, you have to have private lessons, you've got all of this stuff, competitions, and then let's add being an influencer on top of it. Kids are never going to be kids again, and we got to do something about it. So that's why I'm so like, we got to talk about this, people.
Yeah, I mean, like, Riley, it actually Brett and I spend an incredible amount of time talking about this because every time we leave, like, one of these events and parents are, like, wringing their hands saying to us, like, "How do we do this?" And we're both like, "Look, our kids are both professional dancers good company. Neither of them have big social media presence, and that was never part of their trajectory. They were never asked to do it, and they weren't comp kids. So for us, we might be a little bit skewed because our kids are a little bit older. They're 21 now. And so what it's like for these up and coming kids, but for us, that was never part of our equation. Are we missing something? Now it is? Or is this just what competitions are promoting and like you have to have this and then these kids who are good who then just happen to have brand ambassadorships, so it's like this cycle where people feel like it's correlation not causation.
Yeah, I think the piece of the equation we're missing is that as parents, you want to do everything to help your kids succeed and to protect your kids, and that is 100% you being a good parent. Well, we have the internet and social media to answer all of our questions. That's a problem. So you sit in front of your phone all day, and what is it going to do? It's going to push to you what you're seeing, all these amazing videos of kids, all of these different things. So you're going to sit there and think, my kid is not this. How do I help my kid get there? Because I want my kid to be that good. But you're not seeing the Corps de Ballet of American Ballet Theater, where those dancers didn't do the competitions, don't have ambassadorships. You're looking at the top principal dancers. You're not looking at the Corps de Ballet of New York City Ballet, what is 60 people, and half of them don't even use Instagram. It's pointing those points out, right? Like you see someone like Tyler Peck, no insult at all. She's amazing, right? She's got like a So Danza thing going on. But that all happened way after she became a professional dancer. So,
Yeah,
but
and
now
she's a once in a generation talent.
right? But she's not a 12-year-old girl doing all of that, you know? And I think, like, I just get so, like, heartbroken over all of this. We just need to keep reminding people that 95% of professional dancers don't do any of this and never did any of this and still don't do any of this. I've had one student who got a full ride to all the major ballet schools who does very well at competitions. I have one kid, never did one, got the same scholarships without ever doing a competition. And it's because they're just as good. So it's kind of like, what do you do? Like, how do you explain that to someone who's only seeing what they see on social media?
I think that's hard. I mean, I think that I do think there's a belief because I've been told this about my son. Like when he was 10, we had someone tell us that he needed to get on social media and start building his own personal brand. And I was like, I don't know what that means for a 10-year-old boy in a dance studio. Like that makes no sense to me. But I do think there's a belief out there that a strong social media presence, ideally with brands attached to your name, leads to getting jobs at companies because people think that dancers with strong social media followings will put butts in seats in the theaters. And to me, it feels like it's the other way around that, like, once these dancers are well known, are, soloists, principals, then they build their social media following, which then might bring people into the theater, but they're probably coming to see them dance, not because they have a massive social media following. Like, am I missing something?
No, I think what you think is right. It's Broadway does the same thing. They do stunt casting. They'll bring in a celebrity who's probably not as talented as a normal person to try and fill the theater when the show's not doing well, right? And then more often than not, the show closes regardless because it wasn't about the kid. It wasn't about the person who's on stage. It was about the show as a whole was ready to just be done. And, I love seeing New York City Ballet when it's not someone I know. I love seeing a principal debut of someone I never heard of. Like, those are the moments I live for. I love seeing Broadway when it's an alternate going on because there's just so much magic. But I mean, like Misty Copeland she was, oh, again, a once in a lifetime. She could sell out a theater, whatever she was doing, it was going to sell out, regardless of if she did the best performance of her life. She could walk on stage and walk in high heels and to sell it the whole thing. So, these 12-year-olds with 6,000 followers on a mom managed account are not going to do a lot for a big brand. You know what I mean? So if that's you as a parent, like that information needs to be out there. We need to really think about this before we sign up our kids to be all over the internet. Cause also we are so used to, and I get creepy messages every single day, like the most disgusting, vile, you need to be in an insane asylum messages in my DMs. I don't even check my DMs most days because of like nasty things. Because I work with shoes, I also work with feet, I guess. And there are certain people who like feet. I think feet are disgusting. I never want to see a toe ever. Please wear your tights. I don't want to see your toes.
Put your toe pads on,
Y-
folks.
Right? But they're nasty messages. Okay, put that on a 13-year-old girl posing in a leotard. Why does no one ever think about this? There was this a year ago. Instagram cracked down on a bunch of these dance accounts, these dancewear accounts for the pictures they were posting of the kids and the products because we're so used to seeing bodies in leotards, but some weirdo with a different agenda is saving those pictures for whatever that agenda is, if you know what I mean. And we're so used to it. And people don't even notice it anymore because they just want to be famous on social media. So here's my 13-year-old in a two-piece costume that is very, very short and riding up in all the wrong places, and she's doing a leg hold. Think about it. There, I went off on a dance photographer who did a water photo shoot of a 12-year-old in a white tutu and a boy in white tights, and it was a raining photo shoot. And that those photos were all over the internet for like a week. And I go, am I the only one thinking that someone should have stepped in and said this is a bad idea? But because it was a well-known photographer in the dance world, it was okay.
Yeah. I mean, and what is this doing to their mental health, right? And followers come and go, right? So you're like hot for a second and you've got a couple of viral moments and then your posts stop getting engagement. What is that doing to somebody that has no prefrontal cortex, no ability to discern any of this and like all the rejection that comes with that as well?
You average person, like, in the social media sphere, like, at, like, my intermediate level or whatever, I lose anywhere from 70 to 80 followers a day for whatever reason, whether they stop using social media, that unfollow me, but then I gain more and it makes up for it. I can't imagine if I was 12 watching those numbers go back and forth, I would assign my self-worth to that because 'cause I'm 12. And then you get the, "Well, I don't let my daughter see it. I manage it all for her." And then you go, "Hmm, yes, you are protecting your child from all the weirdos, but then you're the one pushing the agenda." And I've been on the other hand of those angry mom messages about influencer stuff. I've been the person on the other side of those emails, and the amount of times I've gone, "Wow, this is a different level of crazy that I would have never expected from this person," all over a pair of pointe shoes. One pair of pointe shoes. And now I live my everyday life knowing that conversation I had with that person. And when people ask me, "Would you recommend this person for that?" I can't in good faith say, yeah, I think she'd be great to work with. The kid be great to work with. I can't say that because maybe the kid is, but you're gonna have to deal with the mom that I had to deal with. And I don't want you to have to deal with what I had to deal with. I could just go on and on about stuff I can't actually talk about. But yeah, it just like, I'm getting fired up thinking about these kids and what they have to go through nowadays because of social media, and it just, like, breaks my heart every way possible, and as someone who uses social media for a living, I always have to like, today I posted a video with a girl where average feet, nothing crazy, no crazy banana feet, and I'm prepared to go in and delete all the negative comments about she shouldn't be on point, she shouldn't be dancing, because the internet thinks everyone has to have a certain type of feet, but if I don't leave that video up, I'm part of the problem by only posting the people with the crazy banana feet. And I fight with that every day of like, am I doing more harm than good by putting someone up on social media that might be ridiculed? Because that's my whole philosophy is never, ever let anyone get ridiculed. Because I'll delete those comments. I don't care what anyone says about deleting comments. I'll delete them to protect the kid or I won't post the video. And I have a lot of moms fly to me from all over the world multiple times a year in hopes that I'm going to post their video of their kid, and they don't get it that I don't have to post anyone I don't want to. I have 5 SD cards of 256 gigabytes worth of point shoe fittings, 5 of them completely full that I haven't even touched. And some of those will never see the light of day because I'm so afraid what the internet would say about that kid.
Often do you get parents when you're doing a fitting who say, absolutely under no circumstances do I want my dancer on, on the social media?
I would say 1 out of 10. So when you book with me, you sign a waiver, and in that waiver, you have the option to being filmed. And then you get it. I made this whole form that says, "You can't ask for this from me. Like, I have full ability to do whatever I want with this. It will be used X, Y, and Z." 9 out of 10 times they say yes, 1 time they don't, and I don't care either way. My camera is there. I either hit play or I don't. It doesn't, I'm the same version. And that's what everyone says about me. They're like, you're exactly like I thought you were going to be because I am not doing anything specifically for the camera. I'm just being Riley 100% of the time. But I would say 1 out of 10 people don't want to be filmed.
I don't know. I just
See, now we're all, like, in that bubble of, like, thinking about all of this of, like
Well, and we
Yeah.
are, and, it was funny because, like, we Instagram came around when, like, my kid was, like, 11 or 12, and so we didn't know what it was gonna do to this, like, generation of kids, so we let them get it. I mean, and I have to say, I monitored my daughter's account for a long time because she did put dance stuff in there because she was a dancer, right? And so I definitely paid attention for creepy dudes because there's always creepy dudes.
there's
And
always
so for me, I just like read her DMs. I know Brett did something similar, just in
as
terms
you
of like,
should.
yes, protecting my kid, right? And now she manages it, all on her own and whatever. And I don't know. I mean, as an industry, or because once upon a time it was your job, right, to help find brand ambassadors, or no, was that not part of your job?
Nah, I didn't have to find them because they were trying to find me.
Sure, sure, sure. But like connecting them with brand ambassadorships, that was
Yes.
like, as an industry, is there starting to be a bigger conversation about, like, what it means to use these children as unpaid labor? Because there's a big conversation about it with trainees, right? That they are unpaid labor. And what is happening now with these brand ambassadors is that they are promoting products on their platform with very large social media followings, and people are not understanding the difference.
I was one of the first people I know to raise that and bring that up in a video once to say, "This is free labor. Why are you doing all this stuff for free?" I have screenshots of me posting it on my story because I've been so passionate about this of just letting kids be kids and protecting children. And I will tell you this, I'm not speaking about any brand in specific. This is broad terms. You're putting your child in a leotard in front of a camera. Do you know everyone in that room? Do you know the person behind that camera? Do you know the person next to the person in the camera who is watching your kid in that leotard? That is very small leotard. If I was a parent, I would want to know the background of every single person there to make sure my kid was being safe. And for most brands, again, talking all brands, you're never going to know that information and you're trusting people you don't know. And that's the scary part because I've been in situations where I've raised some flags that were ignored.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and why isn't it enough to use professional dancers? Like, why do you have to use children?
Because
Because they're
you
free?
because they're free, you have to pay a professional dancer. So when you go down this rabbit hole of using kids for free labor, doesn't it just make you feel icky? That's why I don't wanna be in that world anymore.
Yeah, well, and I just keep coming back to, like, there is this belief that there's an ecosystem out there that ultimately leads to a ballet student getting a leg up in the job market, and I think that's one of the things that makes me really nervous is there seems to be this belief that social media big social media following equals stronger likelihood to get a job, and if all of these ballet students are in this to ultimately become professional dancers, there's a big disconnect out there right now.
I think it's more of a big disconnect than it's actually true. I think it's on social media. Let's say you're seeing 20% of the dance world on social media. You're not, you're only seeing 20% of the dance world. You're not seeing the other 80% who aren't doing all that stuff and getting exactly where they're meant to be. And it's just that we need to constantly remind people that you are seeing highlights of good things on social media, not the reality of it. Right? Like, oh, you're seeing someone being like, I love my new point shoe from this brand. You're not seeing that they've had like 10 customizations from it, 12 different refits, and that they still don't like it. And then look at there are dancers in ABT who are ambassadors for brands, and they're not even wearing the shoes they're ambassadors for because they had the brand they like make their shoe look like the other brand.
That's a whole other ball of wax.
I
Holy
mean, I'm
smokes.
not saying there's a girl who's, repping Freed and she's actually wearing block, but
There's a girl who's repping Freed and actually wearing block?
there is. I remember back in the day on the block poster, there was a girl wearing block in all the posters, but she was wearing Grishko on stage. And then when she was sponsored by maybe Grishko, there was photos of her in block. This was like 10 years ago. But now I'm pretty sure she's just in block. But you just can't trust everything you see, people.
Well, and also now it's very interesting because AGMA contracts, they're starting to write into the contracts about getting paid for Instagram takeovers, getting paid to do extra things on social media. So companies are coming to actually paying people for social media. So why? I mean, I understand the kids want the free stuff and it's kind of this cycle, right? And it's like, well, we're trying to reach that kid market and, all of those kinds of things. But I don't know. I just wish that they would start paying people for these kinds of things and not just paying them determined product that they don't get to choose and they don't get to be
Then if you
100%
pay the
honest about.
kid, do we how do we guarantee the kid gets the money? How do we guarantee it doesn't go straight to the mom who's calls the brand every single day wanting free stuff? There's has to be so many checks and balances in place, and the industry is not set up for a single check and balance on
Well,
of
and
any.
it's so fragmented too. Like I would imagine a brand has, 30 or 40 brand ambassadors. When you're changing that to monetary compensation, you're talking about trust accounts and taxes and tax forms and just all the stuff. And so the workload probably goes way up. Not that it's, that's an excuse, but it's a lot easier to send someone a couple pairs of shoes in a box than set them up as an independent contractor and actually pay them.
Mhm. It's and everything you do, you're supposed to have someone, pay someone to make sure everything's going okay, right? So, like,
Right.
you'd have to pay even more people to manage these kids you are already not paying. And because, like, there's when you do, like, a paid advertisement, you as a brand can get an ad code and you can push that advertisement. There's a whole process of doing that. These brands aren't doing that. They're just literally getting publicity off of them being tagged in it. They're not pushing that. So if you're like, well, if I post on social media and the brand reposts, that's going to get me visibility. It might if all of those followers are real. I mean, who knows if they are or not? I don't know why any brand would have 4 million followers when there aren't 4 million dancers in the world, in the country. So the brand has to pay to push that material. So if they're not checking and giving you like edits and we want it to be more like this, then they're not probably paying to push that video, which means it's not going to be seen. So you're doing all of that work for free products. Which again, maybe the products are nice, but it's generally these are the kids that can afford those free products and are not actually buying them with their own money.
This has been such an incredible, informative conversation, and I'm so thankful that you are so honest with people because I do think people are looking for real information about what all of this stuff really means. So, people want to find you. Where can they engage with you?
Riley Thomas Weber at all platforms except for Facebook, because that's not me.
Riley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
If you're enjoying the Ballet Help Desk podcast, please take a moment and subscribe, rate, and drop us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And while you're at it, don't forget to swipe that auto download button so you never miss an episode. Thanks so much for your support. Until next time, the Help Desk is now closed.